Hi guys, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the Vickers Medium Mk.II, the Tier 2 British medium tank. Recently got the Ace Tanker in the Medium Mk.I, a Tier 1 British tank, and that tank was an absolute piece of crap. So immediately after that game, I sold it, decided to continue on with the low tier Ace Tankers, bought the Tier 2, which is the Medium 2. And oh my god, this tank is even worse. Oh no, I didn't think it was possible to play a tank that was even worse than the Tier 1 Vickers Medium Mk.I, but this is it. This tank is even worse. It's a Tier 2 tank. That must make it better, right? Well, some things are better on the tank. The final gun is slightly better than the Tier 1 gun. We have 57 millimeters of penetration, and we still have the 70 alpha damage. So we've got more penetration on the final gun, and it's slightly more accurate than the final gun on the Tier 1 tank. But slightly better than terrible is still terrible. It's still a very, very inaccurate gun. You've still got the same problems as the Tier 1 in that you're a huge tank, you're a huge target, you are still slow, you are still sluggish, and the Tier 2 tank, or at least the Medium 2, is a medium tank. So you actually don't get camo rating on the move. So, it's worse in every single bloody way. I forgot. You also get more armor than you do at Tier 1. So the Tier 1 had 6 millimeters of hull armor and 8 millimeters of turret armor. Well, this tank actually has better armor than the Tier 1. You get a whole 8 millimeters of hull armor. So you get a whole 2 millimeters more hull armor for a tank that's facing higher tier tanks, and the same turret armor at 8 millimeters. So you're 8 millimeters all around, even though you're facing higher tier tanks. Lose your camo rating, even though the Tier 1 had no camo rating, and you still have all the problems of the Tier 1 tank. In fact, I'm not going to be calling this the Vickers Medium Mk.II anymore. I'm going to be calling it the oh my god, it's worse tank, because oh my god, it is worse. Wow. I thought the Tier 1 tank would give me nightmares. This thing gave me worse nightmares. This thing made me happy to drive the Tier 1 tank. That's how bad this tank was. And once again, it's a terrible game. But the fact it's an Ace Tanker will show you how bad this tank is. We are here on Provence. Let's just get going. So once again, I apologize for a low-tier Ace Tanker, but it's kind of like Pokemon. Gotta get them all. So I was planning to head over here, but then noticed the Leica tractors moving up into the bush I wanted to use. So, pause for a moment. Look at how long it takes the aim time. Hit the T-18, do 0 damage. He moves as my second shot is in the air, and he moves into cover. I'm surprised I haven't been spotted yet. So, continuing to move along. Yeah, this tank was awful. I hate to say it, but this tank was even worse than a Tier 1 tank. Okay. Next victim spotted. Huge aim time. And dies before my shot reaches him. Although I have to say, that shot might have actually damaged the tank or hit the tank if he hadn't died before I'd hit him. So, there goes the Cruiser 3, dead before I can shoot him. Long aim time, inaccurate, decent alpha damage and good penetration, but you have to hit the enemy tanks. So you're seeing a pattern here. In the first game in the Tier 1 I brought you, I was shooting at a lot of tanks that died as my shots were in the air. It's happening again in this game. So moving forward, going to use these bushes, going to try and do some spotting, hoping to get some assistance damage. So sitting here, gonna let my binocs kick in. And there we go. I've spotted a Panzerjäger 1 and a Lloyd gun carrier. That shot goes high. And the tank dies before it can get another shot in. Let's go for the Lloyd gun carrier. And again, hit, no damage, and he dies before I can fire again. I hate this tank so much. So, T7 combat car tracks himself in a really, really bad situation. So I'm inching back. Was hoping to get shots on the PZ-35T, but unfortunately he'd moved forward. Now there's a T-26 spotted in the distance. And I've done my first damage of this game, but he dies before I can shoot again. That is my history of this tank. I either miss the target, even though I've got 50 millimeters of penetration, I can't actually damage and they bounce. Hey, I did more damage. And he dies before I can shoot again. So Tetrarch. Oh, and I've been spotted. So PZ-38 or 35T below me. Proxy spotted me. I got hit by a Cruiser 3. And I'm getting out of there. I can't work that bush as long as the PZ-35T is sitting below me. So moving across, changing my position. Moving into these rocks to maybe get an angle on that cruiser who shot me and maybe to get a shot on the PZ-35T. And I don't have any shots. So I thought he might have been advancing up the road, but he's not. He's advancing, and there's a Leica tractor who's been spotted by the M2 Light who's moved up, but I've got no shots. And once again, a tank dies before I can actually shoot. So, moving down here, I'm expecting the M2 Light to spot tanks around the A and B9. Hoping he's going to spot tanks there. There we go, T7 combat car. Get one shot in. And wow, I got a kill. There's that Cruiser 3 who put a shot into me. And again he dies as my shot's in the air. Such a story with this tank. It constantly happens in every single game. Slow shell trajectory, long aim time, and even with amazing penetration you still tend to bounce shots. So Su-18 has been spotted. He's the last remaining enemy tank, and there's no way in heck I'm going to be able to get him unless he retreats. And there we go. So, terrible game. Absolutely terrible game for a terrible tank. So, I was pretty happy when this score sheet popped up and it was an ace tanker, no other medals, but terrible game. I cannot explain to you guys how bad this tank is. It has to be played in order to believe. I didn't finish top. Again, terrible, even less XP earned in that game than the Tier 1 game, 498 XP, 292 damage, so less damage, less XP, 1 kill. That's how bad the tank is. It really is a bad tank, and you don't really have to have a very good game in it in order to get an ace tanker. But it's amazing how many games you have to play in order to have a game even that good. I fired 11 shots, 6 hits, 6 penetrations, so that's not entirely true because some of those penetrations did 0 damage. At least 2 of them, maybe 3 of those shots did 0 damage. 5 spotted, so I did spot tanks. I damaged 5, destroyed 1, and did 354 assistance damage. So my binocs are what probably gave me the ace tanker. Did far more spotting damage than I did actual damage myself. I earned 14,000 credits for that game and 747 XP, and it wasn't my first game of the day. It took me a lot of games to get an ace tanker in this tank. I cannot believe it's actually worse than the Tier 1, but it is. And once again, another low-tier tank bites the dust, and this is definitely not a tank I will ever be driving again. And like I said on the Vickers Medium Mark I video, this is one of those tanks I think I might Might have a contest in sometime in the future to the person who can get the most XP or the most kills or something. But this tank was an absolute nightmare. Alright, thanks for watching. Sorry for subjecting you to it. I'll see you next time.